Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. You can see I got my kitten in the window behind me, sucking in all that beautiful fresh air and sunlight. Today, we're going to be talking about how to counter Duane, kind of the compositions I'm going to be using going forward in both Guild Battle and Arena. What we're not going to talk about is Monk Cecil, though. Now, I know y'all seen that video of Cecil kicking some serious ass. I don't think that's reasonable, and so that's why I decided to make this video, because I think a lot of people out there are like, yeah, you're just gonna go Engelbert sub-monk and Cecil sub-monk and just counter the dark element compositions, and I think if that's what you're really planning on doing, you are a little crazy. But that's just me. Maybe you have a secret plan that the rest of us don't know about. But let's talk about some realistic strategies for countering Duane. There are three abilities that I'm looking at in terms of countering for Duane. First one's going to be Darkness, which has a 25% chance to inflict Disable for 3 turns. It's also an area of effect attack. Magic Infuse is going to dispel the auto revive and lower the AP of the targeted unit. And Death Scythe is going to be his 2-hit limit break that absorbs 50% of damage done. Now, the first thing that I think about when I think about countering Duane is how to counter Disable, essentially, right? And most people do run a unit with Esuna on their team that can kind of get rid of Disable, but there's a lot of times where just running units with native Disable resistance might actually be more powerful than relying on the Esuna from your support unit. And there are a lot of really powerful units that do actually have Disable resistance. I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through them right now. We have King Elda, we have Yerma, we have Luartha, who just came out, we have Ildira, Little Leela, Rosa, Whisper, Sid, Ruinstern, and Mustadio. Now, probably the 2 units, or maybe 3, that really stood out to people here are going to be Sid, Ruinstern, and Little Leela. All 3 units have had dominant phases or are currently dominant units in the meta. And all 3 of them do have Disable resistance. And this is really important when you consider creating your counter team for Duane, right? Do you want to create a Cecil Engelbert Monk team in order to counter the limited amount of Duane teams that are out there? Or do you really want to go for a more serious approach where maybe you're focusing on either ranged attacks with Luartha, Mustadio, and Rosa, or potentially go with the reliable Little Leela, Ruinstern, Sid? Maybe you don't have Ruinstern, maybe you're going to go a magic build, maybe you're going to go Little Leela, Ildira, Rosa, right? There's a lot of different compositions and a lot of different units from this pool of Disable resistance units that you can utilize. And I think every single unit, with the exception of maybe King Elda, well, even then, even King Elda are completely viable right now. I think, Whisper could easily fit into a dark composition if you're running a dark group. I look at Luartha if you want to run a missile group. I look at Yerma and Little Leela if you want to run a wind group. You can throw Howlet in there, and you can benefit from both slashing up for Yerma and magic up for Little Leela. King Elda can fit into a Pierce composition. There's really kind of this big mix of units with a lot of Disable resistance. And one of the things we haven't been talking about either is that Tomberry is also coming out this week. And the Tomberry VC actually does give 15% Disable resistance. So if you do have a low faith, you may be able to fully resist Duane's Disable, as long as you have the Tomberry VC equipped. So there's also that as well. It's going to be readily accessible, and it is a MR piece of VC. MR piece of VC. I keep talking like it's a piece of equipment. Now, there's a lot of people who kind of have different opinions based on what type of espers you should be using as well. And I think the obvious choice, right, for any dark composition team right now to counter is going to be Demon Wall. It's just so good in terms of offering what you need in order to counter dark units. Other than that, Odin, Golem, Two-Headed Dragon, and War Mech are all going to be incredible at countering dark units. I think if I had to choose, my dream team would probably be Demon Wall, Odin, and Golem. And there's a lot of people who might be against Golem now that we have a lot of defense piercing capability in the meta. But I honestly think a strong defense up, a strong slash resistance up is still going to be your best bet. And particularly when it comes to Odin, he offers so much agility that it's hard to argue. And the amount of defense penetration that's currently in the global meta is not enough to really fully null and void defense at this moment. And I think a lot of people are not currently running full defense pierce compositions or full defense up compositions, or even full slash resist compositions. So I think slash resistance, I think defense is going to be a really good, reliable strategy coming here into the future. We do have the new piece of gear coming out this week for units that can wear cloth equipment. I would even potentially consider throwing like golden armor if you're looking to counter Duane, or something really slash resist heavy. And then we do have the slash resist cloth this week as well. Now, there is gear coming with Disable Resistance Plus on it. It's going to be the Defense Bracer and the Veil Bourgonet. Whoa, can't say that. Veil Bourgonet. Those will be coming in the near future. We should be seeing at least one or two of them in the next couple months. This is going to give you a pretty significant amount of disable resistance, and this is going to be very similar to Ribbon, right? Like, these are going to roll out, and you're going to be like, okay, everybody's going to get them, and it's going to kind of be like that saving grace, right? Like, all right, Duane's had his disable meta, you know, Frederica's done her thing, let's go ahead and give you guys some disable resistance gear that you can rely on. So that's what's coming in terms of gear, espers, and equipment. I hope my unit combinations and conversations at least make a little bit of sense. The biggest problem with Duane is going to be that disable. And then the following is going to be the Magic Infuse. So that Magic Infuse has a range height too. It's going to be undodgeable, guys. You're going to have to just take the AP down, and you're either going to have to be running bells, or you're going to have to be running something to grant your units AP regeneration techniques, or AP regeneration. Now, another part of that, when we're talking about Magic Infuse, just before I get to sort of the huge, or kind of the compositions I'm going to be running, I think you might want to turn off your low AP cost abilities if you are going up against Duane compositions. Because if your AP is getting drained and, you know, not all the units have bells on them, you might be needing a unit to use Shuriken or some other technique, which maybe you would normally have turned off. So keep that in mind when going up against Duane comps. Taking a look at the compositions I'm going to be running this week. For my guild battle attack, I'm going to be running Lil Leela, Sid, and I'm also going to be running Ruin Stern. I am going slash resistance, pierce, slash resistance, penetration, and I am going to go for a little bit of area effect and a little bit of defense as well. So I'm kind of experimenting with some different compositions right now, trying to figure out what's going to work right for me. For my defense, I'm going full magic with Rosa, Little Leela, and Ildira. I'm really going to capitalize on sort of utilizing light element in order to counter the dark elements, and I also want to experiment with Rosa a bit. If I'm looking at changing it up, I might throw Warrior of Light in there, or some type of tank to kind of hold the wall. We'll really have to see. For Arena, Duane is the bonus unit, so I'm going to run two different compositions, one a slash comp and one a pierce comp. I am subbing out Glaciella, who I would normally have in there, but I'm replacing Duane with her position. I'd also use Warrior of Light in this position, so I'm thinking with Duane's native enmity up, he's going to have a very similar effect to Warrior of Light, and it should affect the AI in some significant ways. I'll definitely be doing my arena video this week to show you guys kind of how that goes. I want to get him 99 first, but I don't want to like crazy reset the shop and use up all my Visior. So I'm just kind of coasting right now, and I'll probably have the arena video up in the next couple of days. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you at least learned maybe something in this video about how you might counter Duane, or maybe you learned what units you have that have disable resistance. I hope you guys are able to look outside of the current meta and maybe find solutions if you don't have the units you need. As always, everyone, if you are looking to support me, please use my affiliate link, dig.gs/coins. make sure to come swing by our Discord at dig.gs/discord. I love to hear from you guys, and we love to have our little community of conversations. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great rest of your day, and Happy New Year, guys.